It's from Chinese one, right? Yeah. Nityananda, welcome back to the Enlightened Parenting session. Today we are going to enter into the 5th session of this year, Enlightened Parenting session. So a very warm welcome to all of you. Those who are joining me right now on Zoom, as well as those who are joining on Facebook Live. So Majara Shadika, make sure you go to the Singapore Live Bliss Foundation to Facebook. Yes, great. So let's see how many of you are here. Okay, so it's a small group. That's okay. You know, we will now, let me just share the screen on today's topic. Just a reminder for everybody. Okay. So today's Enlightened Parenting session, 5th session of this year, Saturday, 25th September 2021. My name is Manitya Dugananda, and the topic for today is how power manifestation changes a child's perception about self. So you should know by now that power manifestation is one of the unique contribution of His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivan, only known as Swamiji, our guru, and he makes power manifestation so accessible, so easy for many people. Yes, so basically you need to understand the context why this is, how is this going to help children in various aspects of their life, especially how they think about themselves. So it is not just adult. Anyone who manifests power will have a shift in the perception about self. But I think because it's a parenting session, so we are going to address this aspect for parents so that they understand how this is actually helping kids in, you know, kids where they have low self-esteem, depression, they have all the psychosomatic problem, which we talked about in the last few sessions. Okay, so just a quick recap from the last 4 sessions. Some of the problems faced by the modern parents and the children. Basically, as you all know that the current education system, which is very focused on results, performance, examinations, has created a very, very imbalanced way of learning. Okay, so before we get into that, I'd like to invoke Swamiji. So sit with the back straight. Let's invoke Swamiji into the space. Nityanandam Paramasukharam Kevalam Jnanamutim Vanjvatitam Kakanakshatrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Savadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarihitam Satguruntam Namami. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Okay, so let me just continue where I left off. So basically, kids today are facing tremendous stress, and they are also losing interest in their learning. Basically, the passion for learning has been taken away because of the system, because of the environment. And as a result of that, because the learning is not inspiring them and not making them more and more excited, enthusiastic to go to school to learn, because it's very focused on, you know, memorization. A lot of part of is like left brain centric logic kind of processing, and there is this huge fear created, this inferiority complex or comparison, jealousy created by this examination system. And so much so that the inner world aspect of the child is very much ignored or forgotten. the like emotional intelligence, the spiritual quotient, all that is not actually taken care of in the modern education system. As a result, kids are having poor physical health, a lot of health issue, a lot of violence, aggression, and also they express at the outer world as anger, bullying, selfishness, very, we call it self-centered. All these are happening, and some of the kids, when they are so stressed, what happened is they started to seek for entertainment or distraction outside. They get into addiction, whether it's drugs, drinking, smoking, all kinds of things to distract them. Some even fall into psychosomatic disorder like stress, anxiety attack, panic attack, insomnia, obsessive compulsive disorder, and depression. Some of them are even going to the extent of suicide. As you can see in the last few sessions, we talked about some of the world's most common addiction. Here are the list, and then we talk about different addiction in different parts of the world, like US, India, and then last session we talked about violence, and some of the highest death is actually suicide in many countries among the youth. Okay, suicide. It doesn't help, especially in this period we're going through the coronavirus pandemic, where everything is becoming so negative globally. So understand the children at this time, this era, they're facing a lot of problems. As a parent, you want to do something for them because you brought them to the world, and you have to help them because you are their guardian. You are responsible, as per what Devi Parashakti revealed in the Akashic reading. You're supposed to be the guide to show the way. So as a parent, with your consciousness being aware of what is happening in the outer world, this is the time you should take responsibility to know what is best, how to help your child, so that he or she does not fall into this cycle of mental health issue, physical health issue, emotional health issue. They fall into this low mood and low idea about themselves. So I just want to ask if the pace is okay, Ma and Diata. Do I need to slow down further? You can let me know in the chat. Okay, great. So let me just continue with the next slide. So basically, we all know from what we have spoken over the last 4 sessions, the kids are facing problems, the parents are facing problems, the school are facing problems. There are many layers and layers of compounded issue that children are facing. Okay, so let's move to the next part. Sorry. So then, what is this permanent solution? What is the solution for a very, very, bleak future for the children? You look at it, it's like, it's so multi-layered that you don't even know how to help them to get out. So, as you know that in Vedic tradition, the enlightened masters are always ahead of time. They know how to offer permanent solution or spiritual solution to humanity. So we are going to look at some of these solutions that come in a form of power manifestation. Okay, you may ask, how is power manifestation is going to help? See, Swamiji says that just make them manifest power. Simply, they will work out all these problems, because when they start manifesting extraordinary powers or Shakti, it awakens the divine, in a child, the divinity inside the child. Okay, so that is the beautiful part about power manifestation, which I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into the science of it. so that you understand from the scientific point of view how it is actually helping children to come out of all the different level of issues. Okay, behavioral issues, spiritual issues, health issues, physical health issues, or emotional health issues, all different levels. Okay, so let's dive straight into. I'm going to show you some of the videos of the kids manifesting powers in Singapore. Okay, because you get a sense what is all manifestation. You need to see that in action first, then I go into the science. So let's look at some of the kids. I just selected a few because there are so many which I don't think we have time to play them all. So we'll just select a few just to give you a sense of it. Okay. So here's a child, Dian, who is using the third eye in moving around. He's blindfolded. So let's see.
Let's go. Do a bit fast, Dian.
Wait, I think the sound is not. Let me just replay again. This is the sound.
Chalo.
Okay, Dennis is here. Okay, start.
Let's go. Do a bit fast, Dian. Jai Shri Ram. Hare Krishna. Go to the door. Go to the door, boy. Door. 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 Yeah, you did it. Come back, boy. Yes, very well done. Now come to Papa and tell Papa how much Papa is.
Okay, so this is a boy whose third eye is already awakened. I think by the time he was doing it was like only 6 years old. Okay, so now we are going to see the next one. So this is another girl who's threading the needle. Thread the needle using the third eye. So let's see.
来，你try 这个，对，那是很好。这是明他的手，我觉得对不对？然后就剪一下，那肉它这么一会儿出去。Okay, list done.
Okay, so threading the needle using the third eye. This is one of the advanced power of the third eye. So this is another one, moving that object using the third eye, consciousness over matter. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so understand these are just some example of kids manifesting extraordinary Shakti powers. So you may ask what powers mean to us. Okay, why we manifest powers? You need to understand human beings have always desired to have higher powers, which would enable them to do things as they want, live a life as they want. So that is the whole context. We want to manifest the life as we want, live the life as we want. So since childhood, we hold a fascination for extraordinary powers and are automatically drawn to superheroes in movies, in cartoons. You look at all our childhood, they're mainly all the superheroes, whether it's Superman, Iron Man, you know, even cartoons, you know, Powerpuff Girls. I don't know whether some of you may have remember Powerpuff Girls. All these various cartoons or heroes that we all, you know, are drawn into. Basically, children naturally are drawn to extraordinary powers. Okay, so here we have a little kid who's levitating. So you need to understand the origin of Shakti. So now I'm going into the origin of powers, so that you understand the whole context, why this is actually the solution. You understand why when I unfold layer by layer of the science. So first thing, see, various accounts of the spiritual powers are found in many of the Hindu scriptures like Upanishad, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and many other scriptures. these are not mere stories or methodology, which many people label as just mythology. No, it is history. History that happened, that they wrote the true accounts of people who live and express these powers. Such extraordinary life by playing with the powers. These spiritual powers were nothing supernatural, but rather naturally super. People express the power as an everyday lifestyle. It's not that, oh, they are just different. It's just part of way of life. Because in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, expressing powers is way of life. So Swamiji, our avatar, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashiva, is now reviving the Sanatana Hindu Dharma with all its powers and glory, creating a new species which live, which live with these powers, okay, and take them to the new world, to the whole new world. That means basically these kids are going to be a new species who is going to demonstrate how life can be different with these powers. These powers are described clearly in the Vedic scriptures, along with the signs of awakening the powers. Okay. So who is Paramashiva, you may ask? So for those who are new to Hinduism, let me just explain. Basically, Paramashiva is the ultimate, the super consciousness who have 5 aspects or in a manifest form. Generation, which is creation, Srishti, operation, maintenance, Sisti, destruction, Samhara, handling delusion, Trobhava, giving liberation, Anugraha. These are the Sanskrit words, okay, for basically the 5 actions of Paramashiva, who does perform the 5 actions aspect of his manifestation. So Paramashiva cannot be equated to the Western idea of God, because in the Western idea of God, they only limited to the first 3 actions: generation, operation, and destruction. The last 2 actions, delusion and liberation, form actually 99% of the function of Paramashiva. It means the large part of his responsibility is 99% is on the last 2 actions: handling the delusion, or putting or liberating people, pulling people out of delusion, and giving liberation. Okay, so Paramashiva is the source of all the Vedic sciences, which are outlined in the Vedas and Agamas, and form the Shastra Pramana for all the Shaktis. Okay, Shastra Pramana means the original scriptures that gives the authority to the science. That means they are actually given by Paramashiva himself. It means he's being the source of all the Shaktis, the powers. He gives the direct instruction. That is the Shastra Pramana, okay, direct truth. So understand what is Sri Kailasa, the Vedic Veda Agamic civilization, okay? So eons ago, million years ago, 1,000 years ago, Paramashiva revealed this Veda and Agamas to Devi and established an enlightened civilization. Okay, this civilization embodied the best of the best in every field, you name it: health, medicine, art, science, social, judicial, administrative, and political system. Every aspect, it is the best. So there was a time, like I mentioned before, on planet Earth, 90% of people are already enlightened, 10% are moving towards enlightenment. There was a period on planet Earth. But of course, through the period of degeneration, people has, the consciousness has, very much degraded. And that's where we are today. We're in this, in the Yuga, in the Kali Yuga, where, they call the age of darkness. So basically, there was a time where the planet Earth were actually living a very, very evolved consciousness. That time was the enlightened civilization called Sri Kailasa. Okay. So what's the question? What is that? Why do the last two action have an overweight of picking up? We'll answer that one. So what is Vedas and Agamas? Okay, Vedas are the ultimate superior authority for the Hindus, okay, for the living and practicing Hindus. Vedas are pure science where the ultimate truths are explained. Whereas Agamas are the scriptures where the applied technology or the applied science is expanded. So that's how both work hand in hand. So Vedas and Agamas are given the status of Shruti. Shruti means they are directly revealed by Paramashiva. It means the ultimate. They are the ultimate, the eternal, unchangeable truths. You cannot alter them. You cannot even dilute them, or you can't even make any change to the truth. It is as it is. Since the beginning, it was given by Paramashiva. And it has been preserved, basically authenticated, tested, time-proved. All this truth given by Paramashiva. So a reference cited from this Shastra or source scripture is called Shastra Pramana. Okay, so in the Vedic tradition, we have different Pramanas. Okay, one, Shastra Pramana is the ultimate scriptures author that gives authority, of the ultimate truth by Paramashiva. Then we have the Apta Pramana, which is research, experiences of the different masters, rishis, and sages, enlightened beings. So their report is labeled as Apta Pramana. Then for, let's say, your guru, your enlightened master's experience is called Atma Pramana, the person whom you learn from. Then the last is Pratyaksha Pramana, which is the empirical experiences, researches done by different, whether it's scientific researchers or it could be different organization. Okay, so these are the 4 levels of pramanas. Now, you need to understand the advent of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasamidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashiva. He says, my job is making all of you experience the higher dimension of existence. My purpose is to give you the ultimate truth. That is the purpose of him assuming the body on planet Earth. So as you know that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is an incarnation of Paramashiva, whose purpose is to revive the enlightened civilization in all dimensions, all the lokas, bhuvanas, okay, including the 11th dimension and the 14 lokas. So a new species of being, Swamiji has said that he's evolving a new species of being who live and radiate Paramashivatva as a lifestyle. It means radiating the state, the space, powers, being, superconsciousness of Paramashiva. That is going to be the making of a new species on planet Earth. As he said that, it is time for a conscious breakthrough because we have gone through so many evolution in the DNA. They call the selective process, right? The selective process of our DNA from a fish to the tortoise to, animal, a ball, then to man animal, and then finally now to man. The next level of breakthrough is from man to superhuman, divine. Okay, so for that, that's why he has assumed the body again to give the whole humanity a push to the next level of consciousness, radiating as a divine being. That is what he called a new species of beings. So these are the people who are ordinary human beings. Earlier, they were all born ordinary, but now after initiation by the avatar, by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashiva, they have become the inheritors of Paramashiva and manifesting his powers. Understand? So this is what is happening. How is these powers transmitted? It is through Diksha. initiation into the science of enlightenment. You need to understand how powers or Shaktis get manifested. Shaktis can only manifest when you are in oneness with Paramashiva. That means you are in the state, space, and being of Paramashiva, that's how you can manifest the powers. You're in oneness. Whereas cities is in the process of your, practice, your spiritual practice, like in a yoga, you start manifesting cities, certain powers get awakened. But they are not permanent sometimes. Whereas for Shaktis, you are radiating him. He is manifesting through you. So it is a science of enlightenment. You can't manifest Shakti if you are not in entanglement with the avatar, which is Swamiji, who is the incarnation of Paramashiva. Understand? So the knowledge and science of manifesting the Veda Agama truth are transmitted through Diksha or initiation by the enlightened Guru. So Diksha is a direct transfer of spiritual energy by an avatar. Diksha is transmitted by, Nayana means a look. It could be through mantra, word, to initiation by a mantra like Mahavakya, or even by Sparsha, touch. It means he's touched on your Agnya chakra, for instance, your third eye. So these are the various ways where initiation can happen, either by look, by words of the mantra, or by touch. So see, the attribute of initiation or Diksha is unique to enlightened masters and avatar. This is how this Guru Shesha Parampara is, being handed down to many generations. It means enlightened Guru initiate the disciple become, a master, become Guru, and then initiate the next level of disciple, next generation of disciple. This is the way how this science of and living enlightenments get transmitted. Okay, so as an avatar, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashiva, is able to initiate thousands or even millions of disciples into achieving this entrainment or coherence with his own attributes. That means radiating him by transferring to the disciple immense qualities of pure cosmic energy in the form of bioenergy. Okay, so that is possible when you have an incarnation who is able to radiate such intense energy and transmit that to the people. Not even having the physical presence, he can just transmit it through just online. So let me see, there's a question coming. We'll come to that later also. Okay, so, and also in the ancient times, and it's still in practice in the modern day, some very authentic Gurukul, which is like Swamiji's Nityananda Gurukul, where this science is transmitted. See, like I mentioned in the last session, in the last Enlightened Parenting session, Gurukul means literal gurus, becoming part of Guru's family. So when you live with the Guru, basically that is the way how this awakening of the consciousness of the child happen. And it's not just learning some concept, it's beyond all this concept, it's about awakening the child. And so this is the way how these kind of signs are transmitted through living with the Guru. In olden days, we call Bharat. Bharat is the original name for India, which lived this Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Okay, so children live with the enlightened masters and in this home and learn all the subjects, all the truth, and also imbibe the space and the body language of the enlightened Guru, where the Guru expressed powers effortlessly. Okay. So for Swamiji, understand he has done over 2 decades of contribution to scientific and research community. He has established a few things. Third eye activity is real, where he has done, a lot of quantified research through brain research, by getting people to research his brain, and also his initiated disciples like the Balasans, the kids from the Gurukul. So understand that third eye is a science. The same activities can be reproduced in those awakened by Swamiji, by His Divine Holiness Nityananda Paramashiva. Okay, and it is quantified through study of brain activity of the initiated disciples. Third eye science is a possibility for a global problems of society. Whatever problems that the world is facing, third eye science is the solution. It's possible because it creates possibility for people to come out of their problems. And it's quantified through observation of people who are initiated, disciples of Swamiji. Okay, so let's look at a few studies and you understand how this can actually happen. Let's look at the brain of an avatar. There were a few hypotheses. This was a brain, research, QEEG research done in USA. And to basically show the different state of mind are uncontrollable. This is the hypothesis, because as a human being, we can't control our mind. That is the basis, right? So the study is to measure and compare electric patterns in the brain, commonly known as brain wave, to detect the 4 bandwidths of brain waves associated with the different state of the mind. So the method is QEEG machine. Okay, so a group of scientists came to study Swamiji's brain. And this is the result. So basically, when they show the baseline, okay, of the people, okay, and then when Swamiji is in deep meditation, basically they tested these 4 brainwave, beta waves, which is small and fast, linked with awake, alert state of mind. Alpha wave is slower and larger and connected to well-being. Theta ray close to the state of sleep, and delta occur in the deep sleep state. Decreased delta waves when high focus and peak performance are observed. So this is what Swamiji's brain is when he is in basically deep meditation. See, like in the gamma brain, the different waves is moving from, let's say, in the baseline versus the delta. Okay, the delta where you can show that it's in those deep sleep state. Okay, and then the theta. Okay, so basically, what's the conclusion? Basically, from this research, they see that the conscious state or the waking state, Swamiji is in complete control of the brain waves. He can just control his brain waves. And when he's in a deep meditative state, okay, he's able to do the smooth transition from one state to another. It's like a skilled, talented pianist playing different scale, is able to move around at ease without any problem. So basically, by studying Swamiji's brain, okay, they are able to conclude that Swamiji, different state of the brain are controllable by him, and he can move from one state to another controllably. Okay, this is one major breakthrough for the science, the modern science, to basically understand the possibility of humanity in the sense that the normal brain versus an enlightened brain. How enlightened brain are wired differently from a normal human being. An enlightened brain, it means the brain of an avatar, he is in complete control of the different brains waves. Understand? Okay, so when you understand that, when Swamiji initiates children, adults into this whole science to become him, you literally mirror his neuron. There's this thing called mirroring of neurons he talked about. Okay, so when they did the scientific research on his initiated disciples, the Balasans, they confirmed the same brain activity in Swamiji as in the kid. Basically, they have 5 kids, 5 Balasans and 5 normal kids. They're all of the same age. So they basically did the test on EEBP, visual evoked potential, EEG, electroencephalogram, and then functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, okay, scan. So basically they did this various tests, and you can see from here the chart, basically the balance when the baseline, when the eyes are open, that means they are not doing any manifestation. They show that, okay, normal track activity, same thing for the normal children who are not Swamiji's kids. They also exhibit the same thing. The moment they started to manifest power using blindfold, okay, when they're blindfolded, where they are activating the third eye, you can see that there's no track activity in the brain, okay? Whereas the normal kids, they have no vision, but for the Balasan, they have vision, and they also show normal track activity as per the baseline. But for the kids who are initiated by Swamiji, they don't see any track activity recorded in the machine at all. Then the next level, when the kids are put on eye patch, right? They use the medical or surgical pad to cover. So when both the Balasans and the normal kids are basically iPad, it means they put on iPad. Same thing happened again for the Balasans. Again, the vision is there and no track activity. Whereas for the kids who are not initiated by Swamiji, what happened? They are still showing the same thing, you know, like they have no vision and they have normal track activity. It means the brain is still functioning. So from this conclusion, this research, they concluded that initial disciple see using the third eye and no normal activity is observed in normal two eyes visual tract. That means you don't see any action in the visual tract. Okay, that means they're activating something, not the normal eye, something else. Okay, which is the third eye. So what happened to the next level is they also observe that, okay, the Balasan has zero thoughts experience. Okay, they don't have any thoughts. Where they demonstrated the alpha waves 8 to 12 hertz, which commonly happen when people have their eyes closed. Very distinct high amplitude, high beta zigzag patterns range from 22 to 25 hertz, proving thoughtlessness. That means when they observe their brain pattern of the Balasans, they are in the, you know, thoughtless zone, like meditative state. Okay. So whereas when the kids are blind, the normal kids are blindfolded, they don't show any of these signs. Okay. So the conclusion is that the machine show that the initial disciple of Swamiji, the Balasans, mirror zero thought state of Swamiji. That means they are also in the zero thought bandwidth, no? The brain wave in this, that prove that they are actually in the meditative state of thoughtlessness. Now, next. The next aspect of the research is that they're able to see, you know, when the Balasans are blindfolded, they show their very little brain activity. Okay. Whereas for the children, when they're blindfolded, they are not able to have vision, but the midbrain and the occipital area, the back, the hindbrain, the back of the brain, show signs of anxiety because they are not initiated, they are not able to relax when their eyes are blindfolded. Whereas when the Balasans, when they're blindfolded, they just fall into the entanglement, oneness with Swamiji, and they just go into the meditative state, mirroring his neurons. Okay, so this is one aspect. And then they basically, what this research also confirmed is that the initial disciples have no brain activity when reading through the third eye. When they are doing blindfold reading, when they are reading images or lights flashing at them. So the two eyes are not used at all during those time when the third eye is being activated while blindfolded and seeing through the third eye. Understand? So which means they're using, whenever they're using the third eye, they enter into a totally different brain. They are not using brain activity, very little, but they're activating a different intra-organ, which is the third eye, which shows the brain activity totally different from normal kid. Okay, when they mirror neurons or Swamiji. So basically what I want to say is that Third eye, power is a science. It is a possibility for the global problems of society. It is a new possibility even for who are born blind or visually impaired. For people who are born blind, they can have the possibility of seeing again through the third eye if they are initiated by Swamiji or his initiated empowered disciple. So powers of third eye, or powers of manifestation changes the neuroplasticity of a child's brain to that of an awakened avatar. It means enlightened avatar. Basically, see, neuroplasticity means the way how the brain is wired can change when you start manifesting power, because when you are activating different parts of the brain through power manifestation, the whole brain is activated. The whole brain get rewired to mirror that of Swamiji's brain, who is an enlightened being, who's radiating, who has complete control of the brain waves, how he is able to control the brain activity. And when he's in that samadhi state or the deep meditative state, he start having a different brain wave activated. So basically what I want to say is that, see, whenever children start manifesting powers, understand, they start feeling, when they're in entanglement with an enlightened master like Swamiji, Avatar, Paramashiva himself, essentially, the children start feeling that they are him, they are Swamiji. So that's why all the lower identity, lower mode, how they perceive about themselves start to, lose power over him. Let's say they feel that they are just powerless, they feel that they are just a small kid, all that start to lose power over their cognition, how they perceive themselves. The inner image start to change to that of an incarnation. They start seeing that I'm Paramashiva, I'm Swamiji, I'm manifesting him. So when that happens, the child totally shift to a different state, and manifesting different Shaktis of Swamiji. That's why they are able to walk out of any psychosomatic disorder. They're able to be complete, with all their past. They're able to start living at a different frequency as the ordinary kid who are not initiated, who are not manifesting powers. Understand? So with that, I come to the end of the setup for this context of how power manifestation basically changes the child's perception about themselves. Because when they are in entanglement with Swamiji during power manifestation, they are in oneness with him. In that space of oneness, they only feel that they are him. They only feel that they are divine. That's why that whole experience, the more and more powers they manifest, the more and more they're in that state, in oneness with Swamiji continuously. There's no way they will fall into the low of low self-esteem, self-doubt, self-hatred, or self-denial, or even depression. There were no question of that, because they are experiencing the divinity within them, and they're experiencing the powerfulness within their inner space. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the presentation now, and come to the question raised by a few people here. So I hope all of you are following what I'm trying to share in this context of power manifestation, why that is important. Because there's so many aspects of power manifestation, so I just basically present this in a context for parents to understand why power manifestation, what power manifestation does to the kids' consciousness. Okay. So now let's address some of the questions given by the parents here. So let me just go through one by one. Okay. Those people who are attending from Facebook, you can also ask. once I finished the question from the parents here, I will also go into your question. Okay, so Ma Stephanie basically asked, why do these two last actions have an overweight in acting out by Paramashva? Okay, here you're asking about the 5 actions of Paramashva, the Panchakritya, right? Basically creation, maintenance, destruction, putting people in delusion and pulling people out of delusion, and finally liberation from all this. Right. See, the last two are more because this world that we live in, it is nothing but Maya, illusion. Only when you're awakened, you will know that whatever you are seeing in the outer is nothing but a dream. So basically, the role of Paramashiva is to awaken all of us. So the whole work that he's doing, majority, is the last two. Understand? So I hope that answer your question. It's the touch necessary for full transformation. Depends on the quality of the, I would say, the quality of the incarnation, because you must know that there are many levels of enlightened beings. Some are just mystic. That means they come here and enjoy life. They don't really transmit. Okay, they are enlightened, but they don't transmit. Okay, but there's another group of enlightened beings. They come here and initiate a small group of disciples. Like maybe you can count with your hands, or maybe 10 or 20 only. That's all they will be focusing on. But when you have an incarnation, like Swamiji, he's a Jagat Guru, means the Guru for the entire world, the entire humanity. Okay, he cannot be initiated 10, 20 people only. He's here to initiate millions, hundreds of millions who came down with him, for him. So as a avatar means who is here to create super consciousness breakthrough, which means he has a huge responsibility to enlighten the mass in a quick way, which means not just touch, by sight also it's possible. Okay. However, there are some powers or some initiation, you need the touch. You need to basically transmit the muscle memory to a muscle memory level. Those powers, you need to be in the physical presence of the master, like Swamiji, to receive the initiation. Okay, so that is the touch is necessary for some initiation. Okay, like for instance, some of the very advanced mystical power, you need to be in his physical presence for the initiation. You can't do it without being, by online. It's not possible. Okay. Okay, so was it measured the difference between light being and incarnation being? Was it measured? No, you should know that Swamiji is the only enlightened master or incarnation who have made himself so readily available to the scientists. Have you seen any enlightened being living in a forest who go and say, come take me for research? Swamiji is the only one, because he has to bridge the gap between science, modern science, and spirituality of the Sanatana Hindu Dharma. So he has to establish that. So that's why he's making himself available. I mean, in the past, right now, is no longer available due to all this stupid persecution. So there's no measure between the enlightened being and the incarnation, okay? Because Swamiji is the only one who had actually right now, the way how I see it, make himself available. So maybe the next level in, enlightened being will be his disciple only. if there are some research who are interested to study the brain and of all his disciples who are enlightened, then maybe you'll get that research data. Right now, nobody's doing that. You have to wait some more. Okay. So we are kind of in the phase globally, the collective consciousness in this plane, as well as putting into delusion and liberation. See, this is what is happening since time immemorial. We're always living in the Maya delusion. And of course, to come out of the delusion, to be liberated, that's why master happened. The master happened for that possibility of coming out of delusion and be liberated. So now we have incarnation who is coming here to awaken millions. Do you understand? So which means the possibility of humanity to have a conscious breakthrough is there when the incarnation happened. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's not only now. It happened since the time immemorial. This delusion, this whole thing is happening. It's just now, only right now, the possibility for more people to be awakened is higher. Do you understand what I'm saying? When, if let's say, see, a few thousand years, you have an avatar descending in body. Like the last avatar is basically Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is the avatar of Vishnu. Okay. For avatar of Paramashiva, it doesn't happen that often. It takes a long time. Okay. And Swamiji already said he won't come down again. This will be his last incarnation. And then he will just establish a system on planet Earth so that he doesn't need to come back again. The system will be able to produce enlightened beings again and again for the next 2,000 years. That's what he said. Okay, so all right, so I hope I answer all the questions, Malala. So Stephanie, since the separation of God and Godel, we're in Maya, most probably. Yes, unless you understand Godel is the ultimate, then the God is not. Okay. All right, so let me just see whether there's any question from, yes, Facebook. How to bring kids to start for manifestation. All right, so this is the thing. The way how kids are going to be initiated is to go to sign up for Gurukul. Okay, so either they go to Nityananda Gurukul, which is in India, or they join e-Gurukul, which is in different places. There's e-Gurukul. Okay, actually in Singapore we started Bala Vidyalaya, but right now because of the changes, we are going to launch e-Gurukul during Navaratri on. So by 1st October we'll be sharing the great news of Singapore, Kailasa Singapore starting e-Gurukul, and we're going to be recruiting. So more information will be shared with the people. If you're interested, please let us know. We're going to do an introduction before the launch, probably end of this month. Probably next week, we'll have a session organized for parents who are interested to find out what is e-Gurukul and how to go about signing up your child. Okay. So basically, another way of for kids to start manifesting powers, they have to be initiated by Swamiji. They have to go through certain initiation, which is facilitated by the e-Gurukul acharyas and the whole curriculum. So we will be guiding them. So we have to prepare the kids in various ways, like making the body yogic. So they will be trained to do Nityananda yoga. So that's the first level. Then they will be also awakening their devotional feeling connection with Swamiji. So we will introduce them to puja, because puja is the way to connect with Swamiji. Then they will be given powerful cognitions, right understanding about life, about them, about God. about Paramashiva, that will start to shift their space, and they will also be learning how to complete with their incompletion. That means whatever that, hangover they have from the past, they start to drop it and shift to this powerfulness of Paramashiva. Then, of course, by manifesting powers, playing with all the 463 powers. There are a total of 463 powers given by Paramashiva in the Veda and Agamas. Okay, so when the kids start manifesting all these powers, they will be enjoying, they will be, radiating Swamiji at a different frequency altogether. So this is what is going to happen. We're going to announce, get Swamiji's blessings on Navaratri. That's the plan, to launch the e-Gurukul in Singapore. That's why this whole enlightened parenting is a preparation to bring parents into the right understanding of why power manifestation is important for kids. It is a solution globally for many of those problems that we are facing right now. Because when you start feeling you're divine, you're Paramashiva, you just simply walk out of all the problems you have. Right now, you're stuck with your inner image of what you think you are, and the outer image, what you're trying to project to the outer world. Correct? So the constant fight happening inside there. But when they start manifesting power, they're mirroring the neurons of Swamiji. They don't even remember the inner image and outer image. They become irrelevant, because the image that they only remember is they are Paramashiva. So if they only remember their Paramashiva, then all the clutches of what low self-esteem, inferiority complex, all the patterns start become irrelevant, redundant. Okay. So let me see, any other questions from the, okay, so. Okay, I'm going to play now a video while all of you please start to, think about any other question you have. So let me just play a video of how the kids are given, the blind, visually impaired, and the blind kids are given a list of new possibilities to see again. Okay, so let's watch.
પહેલા મેં મંત્ર બોલ્યો તો પછી મારા ગુરુજીને યાદ કરીને પછી બોલ્યો.
ક્યાં દેખાયું આ શબ્દ ક્યાં દેખાય?
થળાઈ મારા દેખાય.
કઈ જગ્યાએ? થળાયેલા આંખોની બંને ઉપર કપાળમાં વચ્ચે.
કપાળમાં અને અહીંયા આ દીકરી આંખમાંથી કપાળ દેખાયું લાઈન.
Nityanandam, I am Nityanandita. I am part of the thousands of people whom Swamiji has initiated to be able to manifest extraordinary powers. One of the extraordinary breakthroughs that I had in the past 5 years was very recently when I visited the Blind People's Association here in Ahmedabad. It was for the first time I saw the blind children, the visually impaired children. With his one blessing, Swamiji just told that Through me, he blessed me to be able to be one of his Divya Shariras, to be able to carry and radiate him through my body. And he told me that I will be able to initiate all of those children for them to see.
The Blind People Association, especially today in morning sessions. I am surprised to share that most of the participants, they could read words having with the blindfold.
P-O-W-E-K.
So P-O-W-E-R, and we see R as K. Wow, beautiful.
Beautiful. Excellent. Very nice.
Yes, so I want to just show this piece of paper, and that's exactly what is written.
Third eye as a capacity to make anything you want as reality.
Taste the first breakthrough, conscious breakthrough guaranteed. It is all about opening your third eye, giving you first conscious breakthrough. Any human being can go through these initiations and have this superconscious breakthrough, manifest these possibilities and powers.
One of the biggest gift to the humanity from Kailasa is third eye awakening, even for the born blind, visually impaired human beings.
So, as you can see, the power of third eye, how even the born blind is able to see again, simply possible just by the touch of Swamiji's initiation. Only by his initiation that this is possible for humanity to again see. See, he said everyone has third eye. Every human being has third eye. Understand? So which means even you lose your eyesight, you still can see with your third eye, which is great. Is it possible to have this video? Yes, Ma. I can post the link here in the chat. You can have it. No, you can share with people. You can share with within the sangha. Even you can even share with even children in your wherever the location where they are, the association of, for the blind kids, and start contacting them and see if they're interested to be initiated by Swamiji so that they can be given the gift of sight again. So let me just see any other question from the Facebook Live. If you have any question, I'm just coming. Any other question from the Zoom room as well? Okay, so I want to also further elaborate on Ma Shankari's question on how to basically bring kids to start power manifestation, right? Besides the Gurukul, they need to somehow start doing it, participating in it. okay? Because there's no, see, it's about entangling with Swamiji. So when kids start to do it initially, they, they will feel shy, or they will feel, what you call it? I see when the kids in Singapore, when they first started manifesting, when they are not able to manifest initially because of the, incompletion or low idea they carry about themselves, they feel that, they feel, they want to run away. This is a normal reaction of kids. The first time they see failure, they are not able to manifest. They see other kids manifesting, they want to run away. They say, I don't know, I don't want to do anymore. This is, many kids go through that. But the acharyas, the teachers, will be able to encourage them to drop all this lower idea about themselves and encourage them to keep participating, trying, encouragement, and giving them the possibility. And I see all the kids, especially who I had, the fortune of coaching them in the power manifestation, many of them start manifesting extraordinary third eye powers. So even advanced powers, Shaktis as well, whether it's teleportation, whether it's, remote vision, all these powers they're able to do. It's just simply the space I hold for them. It's just like the space how Swamiji hold all of us. I'm holding the same space for the kids so that they feel complete, they feel empowered to do the power manifestation, to feel connected with Swamiji. So that's what we do as teachers, acharyas, initiated acharyas by Swamiji, to facilitate. We're like the conduit, the pipe, where the kids are able to connect with Swamiji by holding them in that powerful space. That's why it is very important in Gurukul, the right ambience, the right space, environment, they call Vatavarana, is created for kids to manifest power. So that is very important. So all the teachers are initiated and they are trained to help kids to manifest power, to be able to start moving in the right space, state, and manifesting the powers and the being of Paramashiva. Okay, so I have some more questions. Wait. And will we be allowed to translate this video into French? Of course. Once it's uploaded and it's in Facebook, you can go and download from Facebook and then you can translate that. Even if you want, I can send you the PowerPoint slides. I will send it to Malala. She will be able to disseminate to the French Sangha, so you can translate that and share with more and more parents. Okay, integrity also applies to children. Yeah, everything is integrity only. That's why they have to learn the fourth of force as well. Okay, any other question? Let me just see. I want to share an incident where I've seen in the kids in Singapore. Okay, while you guys are continuing to type your questions, let me just see. There was a child, the brother of the boy who is rollerblading. Okay, the elder brother. When he first came to Gurukul, he was very shy, very not outspoken. Unlike the younger brother who is very, very extroverted, very energetic and all that. Whereas the elder brother is a bit shy and introverted. And he would normally not raise his voice or speak up. Okay. After coming to Gurukul, after manifesting powers, he became so confident. He's able to speak out. Before that, when his brother was manifesting powers, he would feel like he can't do it. But after he was able to manifest, he started becoming very actively participating. There's a complete shift in his behavior and in the way how he think about him. That he knows that Swamiji is manifesting through him. And he knows that how he can actually, take the opportunity to basically demonstrate that he is able to manifest. So the whole shift in terms of personality from a shy, introverted, low, what you call it, person who feel low self-esteem, really don't think that he can do it, to a person who is totally, courageous to express the powers and, volunteering to manifest the powers, he's not like running away anymore. He's quite readily willing to jump in whenever, you know, we ask who want to try, and he would just be, you know, me, I'll be the first one. Such a far cry from the beginning when we first met him. He was so shy, he wouldn't talk, he would just be keeping quiet, hiding one corner and just observing quietly, to someone who is now will speak up, someone who will ask questions intelligently, inquisitively, no longer hiding inside himself. All the questions he has, he just kept quiet in the past, but now he would really ask, which is how he became, you know, his behavior and the way how he think about him, the way how he perceive about him is totally changed. That's why the lower idea that he carries for him is completely transformed to that of Swamiji. So you can see how powerful that power manifestation is. Understand? Yes, it's a conscious shift of how they feel about them, how they feel about the world. Everything encompasses that. But the science is power manifestation. Understand? And also enlightenment is also power manifestation, because when you manifest power, you are living in the state of enlightenment. So it's all in one, most powerful tool. Okay, so let me just see any other question from. Okay, I don't think there's any further question from Facebook. What about the any question from the French community? I just take a little shot. This under data, is there any question from the Chinese parents? Please ask them. Okay, there is a question. Yeah. My oh, she was saying she was sleepy just now, couldn't open eyes, but now I think she's okay now. All right, great. So her daughter, okay, was joined Gurukul for 2 months, yes, and she did a you know, third eye reading through blindfolding. She was very surprised that she was able to do it, and she was so envious that her daughter can manifest the third eye. And they manifest so fast, yes. And see, for parents, we take a bit longer time, because for the kids, they don't have a lot of patterns of impossibility. Whereas for parents, we already gone through like 30, 40, 50 years of living, and a lot of things get inserted in us by society. And also our third eye is much more polluted, calcified by like neurotoxin, like, you know, fluoride and all that. So which means we need to take time to clean, to detox the third eye. Whereas kids don't have all the accumulation of the neurotoxin. So they are able to manifest instantaneously, quite fast. Right? Now you understand why power manifestation is not just to play, you know. It is to make them enlightened. Huh? You need to have the right context of power manifestation. Yes. Question from Anne. Can you initiate blind people? Me? You're asking me? I need to ask Swamiji to maybe one of his Diva Sharira. See, when Swamiji initiate, when he ordained, he sustained. So right now, I think only a few balasans are given that power, you know, one of which is, of course, the lady you saw, the Balasan Nityananda Dantita. She's been identified as one of the Balasan who will initiate the blind people. So, of course, Swamiji would have to initiate more people to be able to initiate blind people, right? So I don't know how he's going to do it. Maybe it's something I will ask the Akashic reading. Swamiji, can you read me your Diva Sharira so that I can initiate blind people? But I think, you know, Let's see whether he will give it. I don't know. So I think you need to go through certain, I would say, initiation and feeling connection with him before you can become his Diva Sharira. It means like the body of light, his light body is, radiating through you. Okay, so which means you're literally radiating him. Okay, so any other question? Actually, I did ask once. Because that time, maybe a year or 2 years ago, he was talking about this Diva Sharia. There's certain things that need to happen. If I can't remember exactly what is it. He can initiate, but right now he hasn't done it yet. Maybe because you need to be physically present or whatever. So we need to check what is the initiation process, whether to be online or there are some other criteria that he will put in place in order to initiate disciple into his Diva Sharira. Okay, any other question? 味道，你有什么问题吗？ Okay, maybe adults have too many deep-rooted incompletion. Yes, ma, it's true. So because you're on planet Earth longer than the kids, right? So you have more nonsense you accumulated. So you need to clear all the nonsense, all the dust. It is not that you can't. It just take a bit more time to remove all the dust inside your inner space, clean up your body, detox the body. Whereas the child, relatively the number of years they have on planet Earth is shorter. So the purity of the body and the third eye, everything, the space is easier for Swamiji to manifest. That's why he said, power manifestation is easy for kids. Once they are done, they will know. I want to share one of my son's experience as well. See, my son, he is now 18 years old. Okay, he met Swamiji when he was physically, when he was 6. Okay, but he heard about Swamiji when I tell him about Swamiji's story, about his powers and all his, his biography, all that when he was 3, because that's the time when I met Swamiji. From 3 to 6, he was literally listening, about story of Swamiji, because it's like his bedtime story from me when I share with him about Swamiji, what I read about him, what I heard about him, what I experienced about him. Then he finally met Swamiji at the age of 6, okay, when he got the first initiation in Singapore to Kalpataru 1-day program. Then after that, I brought him at the age of 9, I brought him to attend the first 21-day program with him, okay. So from then on, he has been seeing Swamiji almost every year till 2017, because that was the time where Swamiji, 2018 mid June, he left India. So from 9-year-old till he was about 14, he was seeing Swamiji almost every year, getting initiation. So I can tell you, the very way he's wired is very different from other kids. First thing, he has an IQ 141, which is, higher than normal. And not only that, the way he thinks is very different. He is constantly in the blissful space, and he's just like Swamiji somehow, in that blissful state. And the way how he manifests power is so easy for him. He's able to travel vertical time zone. He's able to manifest many, extraordinary powers because of the initiation by Swamiji earlier on. And the possibility is in him. I don't even have to do it. Once the initiation is done by Swamiji, Swamiji directly work on him. He can connect with Swamiji directly, and Swamiji will, can initiate him, can do the process directly with him without me, bringing him to Swamiji directly, physically. That's the amazing part. So the whole point is, once the child is connected to Swamiji, he will just work on the child directly, just like his extension. Okay, so there's some more question. Okay, let me just see. It's Swamiji manifesting through us. So the more space he get in us, the more powers will be manifesting. Yeah. Also, the stronger feeling connection what identification of Paramashiva is, and the more powers are manifesting as well. Yes. Then Malala, I have a question. Kids like yours, Ma, knew they wanted to meet Swamiji, so they chose the parents who are going to bring them to him. In fact, all kids, if they are Swamiji's disciple or devotees, they know they've chosen consciously to live around with the master. All kids, not just the kids here. All the kids who are, happens to be connected to Swamiji by their parents, they have chosen their parents for this reason. Okay, so do not think that only kids in Singapore, all the kids globally who are somehow parents are connected to Swamiji, they have chosen them to meet Swamiji. Okay. So any other questions from online? At Facebook, it's very quiet. I'm quite surprised. Any other question from Facebook Live? Here is quite acharyas and parents. You can ask any question. Before we conclude, we're almost come to the end of the session now. So I'm going to post that video on the link here. So please copy it. Okay, the video of this you just watched, where how this visually impaired or blind kids are gaining sight again through third eye. So this is the link. Please go and copy the link, and so that you can share with the Sangha. It's really inspiring to see how third eye is actually giving the possibilities to this group of people whose world has been only living in darkness. Can you imagine? Suddenly get to see. Oh wow, it's just too inspiring. too amazing. It's like somehow you're just given the life to someone who has never and have life. You're just given a new lease of life. Imagine how grateful they are going to be to Swamiji, who has given a new possibility in their life to live normally again, to have a normal life, because they can see through the third eye. Yes. So I hope in today's session, all of you has a better understanding of how our manifestation is going to help children in getting the conscious breakthrough, the shift that is needed from ordinary human being to the conscious being or superhuman beings. From that only, they will be able to solve all the problems in the physical world, because all the things that they perceive of them become irrelevant, because they know now they are the divine. Unless they see their divine, they will, anything they think they're lower is ego, right? When you have ego, means what? You are not in the enlightened space. Okay, so the moment their cognition is shifted to Paramashiva, then they are living in oneness with Swamiji, and they are his very own extension. Okay, I hope I answered all the questions already, all of you. If there's no further question, post it here. Okay. So any other questions from online? I will post it here also. Come.
Maduga, I'm not sure if they can just download the video from Facebook.
No, I'm giving the link. If they cannot download, they can just basically share the link.
Oh.
They don't have to download. They just need to share the link. Okay, any other questions? If not, it's time to wrap up. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the session. Yes. Okay. Give the clarity. So basically, if any one of you are interested on the e-Gurukul launch, please reach out to me. We will be inviting parents who may be interested about this program. We'll be starting after Navaratri. So in the first 2 weeks of October, we'll be doing recruitment. We'll be recruiting kids to sign up. So parents, you need to sign up before they can enter into e-Gurukul. So first 2 weeks is registration. So Yana Mai, I'm looking at you to inspire many, many kids from China. Huh? This is your enriching, your opportunity to enrich many, many, many children and parents. And now they understand the context of power manifestation e-Gurukul, you'll be able to enrich them properly with a lot of conviction, a lot of powerful understanding. Yes? Yes. Thank you, Malala, for that vote of confidence, and also my end. So all of you, if you're interested, let me know. We will definitely invite them, all of you to join a session, and then you can find more about that. Okay. So with that, I would like to conclude the session on the 5th Enlightened Parenting today. Just to let you know that we will not have Enlightened Parenting for next 3 weeks because of the Navaratri. We're having this big celebration and we'll be focusing on e-Gurukul launch. We'll come back again on the 16th of October, the next topic. Okay, I think the next topic is on vegetarianism. Why vegetarianism is important for power manifestation, for living as a Gurukul Balasan. Oh, thanks, Dennis. You say for the inspiring session. Thank you. Thank you. I hope all of you enjoy and you also go and inspire more and more parents and kids, okay? Because the world needs to have a conscious breakthrough. This is the only way we can save the next generation for manifestation. This is the only way children will start living like a divine, the superhumans on planet Earth. And it's not difficult. They just have to get initiation by Swamiji and start living like him. All the kids in Singapore, when they just get connected, they are just so happy, joyful, healthy. So it is all possible for kids. Only thing that we need to work on is parents. That's why I have to do this enlightened parenting session so that parents, some loose screws, I need to knock them out. So that they understand the context. Then they won't run behind exams, you know, stress the kids out. They won't do all kind of stupid things to the kids. They are all supposed to be, you know, divine. They are supposed to be Paramashiva. So, but if the parents are not aware, they just make the kids another dull buffalo, just like them, which we don't want. Okay, Ichinuli, yes. Great. So let me just end with the Puna mantra. Thank you all for joining. Om Purnamada Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Hari Om Tat Sat Saubam Bhagavashi Nityananda Paramashiva Paruka Paramastu. Om Nityanandam. Nityanandam, thank you. Take care.